Our plan aims to improve air quality and reduce Nigeria's contribution to climate change through 22 specific mitigation measures in 8 field sectors.
On the news tonight, President Buhari addresses forum on energy and climate, highlights Nigeria's transition strategy towards clean energy. Few hours to Ekiti governorship election, appeal court. President sets up petition tribunal. Also tonight, Catholic Church holds funeral mass in honor of victims of our church terror attack. Good evening and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. We are live in Abuja. Adiola Kone Akere joins us from Lagos and Mohammed Ibrahim from our Maiduguri studio. And here is a reminder that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, as well as other social media platforms displayed on the screen. We begin with climate matters. Nigeria has resolved to adopt a long-term low-emissions development strategy as process of transition from fossil fuel to clean energy, describing it as a critical pathway towards safeguarding its economic growth. President Muhammadu Buhari announced this while addressing the major Economist Forum on Energy and Climate Change hosted virtually by the U.S. President Joe Biden. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The forum was convened by President Joe Biden to galvanize action that will strengthen energy security, enhance the resilience of global food security, and tackle climate crisis. These actions, described as more urgent, are in response to the Russia-Ukraine war, which disrupted energy markets, strained economies with rising prices, and threatened vulnerable countries with severe food shortages.
Russia's war in Ukraine is worsening food insecurity, in part due to the skyrocketing price of fertilizer. We have to work together to mitigate the immediate fallout of this crisis. So today, the United States is launching a new global fertilizer challenge that's aimed to raise at least $100 million toward increasing fertilizer efficiency.
President Muhammadu Buhari described the event as crucial to the well-being of national economies as well as their continued existence on the planet. Restating Nigeria's commitment to climate action, the president explained that the country's updated nationally determined contribution is focused on reducing greenhouse gas emission, in particular by 47% conditionally and 20% unconditionally below business as usual.
Our plan aims to improve air quality and reduce Nigeria's contribution to climate change through 22 specific mitigation measures in 8 source sectors: transportation, cooking, industry, waste, oil and gas, agriculture, power, and hydrofluorocarbon. The full implementation of these measures would be effective in reducing short-lived pollutants with an 83% reduction in black carbon emission by 2030, compared to a business as usual scenario, and 61% reduction in methane emissions.
President Buhari told the forum that Nigeria's Sustainable Energy for All Action agenda targets to not only reduce exposure to air pollution across the country by 22%, but also achieve 30 gigawatts of power by 2030. He said his administration is fully aware that heavy dependence on fossil fuel will make the country vulnerable in a world that has a target to not only reduce but eliminate fossil fuel as a key driver of the global economy.
The long-term low-emissions development strategy provides Nigeria the pathway to carefully assess the opportunities that might arise in terms of a cleaner, more dynamic, and more sustainable growth model. It will also provide the option for the country to implement a less carbon-intensive model of economic development in the face of decreasing global reliance on fossil fuel energy.
At the forum, third in its series, the world leaders are expected to raise ambitions by joining new efforts and initiatives aimed at tackling the climate crisis while advancing energy and food security. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And issues of climate change, food security and sustainable livelihood of the vulnerable are top on the agenda as the Technical Committee of the Pan-African Agency for the Great Green Wall Council of Ministers meets in Abuja. Onenge Fineface reports.
Nigeria, as current chair of the Pan-African Agency for the Great Green Wall, is hosting 11 ministers of environment of the Great Green Wall member states. In the wake of climate change events and incremental climate extremes, experts at the meeting are considering opportunities to combat the drivers of desertification and land degradation.
Poor financial provision and mobilization has been a major obstacle to the effective and impactful implementation process of the activities of the laudable Great Green Wall Initiative in virtually all the participating member states.
Great Green Wall is above just planting trees. It's really a development initiative. So energy, agriculture, all these components is part of it. So that's also the thing and right now the focus of our support to set up this national coalition so that the Great Green Wall will be a priority in each country.
It must be that Nigeria hosts the 8th ordinary session.
President Muhammadu Buhari took over leadership of the Pan-African Agency for the Great Green Wall in 2021 for a 2-year term. In Abuja, Onenge Fineface, NTA News.
Still on climate matters, in commemorating World Desertification and Drought Day 2022, governments around the world are encouraged to develop land planning processes and provide funds for climate-smart agriculture to build resilience against drought. Onenge Fineface once again reports.
Nations Convention to Combat Desertification indicates that droughts are up to 29% since the year 2000, with 55 million people affected every year.
Drought is not just the absence of rain. It is also, and often more, a result of human actions, or rather inaction.
Together, we can restore the productivity of over 2 billion hectares of degraded land and improve the livelihoods of more than 1.3 billion people around the world.
In commemorating Desertification and Drought Day 2022, the United Nations is drawing attention to solutions including early warning systems.
In Africa, the Great Green Wall of the Sahel has already restored millions of hectares of land and created thousands of jobs from Dakar to Djibouti. Taking care of our land and its biodiversity can help address the climate crisis and assist in reaching all our sustainable development goals.
Desertification and Drought Day is celebrated to raise public awareness of desertification, especially in Africa. Onenge Fineface, NTA News.
Let's now talk elections and petitions. The President Court of Appeal Justice Monica Dongba-Mensem has set up the Ekiti State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. The tribunal is to hear and determine petitions that may arise from the governorship election slated for Saturday, June 18, 2022. A statement by the Secretary of the Tribunal, Umar Abubakar, says Justice Dongba-Mensem took the action pursuant to Section 285 subsection 2 and subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 130 of the Electoral Act 2022. The tribunal is to make use of the Ekiti High Court complex. And as the people of Ekiti State gear up for tomorrow's governorship election, traditional and religious leaders are advocating peaceful conduct in the interest of the state and the nation at large. Temitope Odebumi tells us more.
Realizing the need for peace, the Oluyi of Iyi, Obadiola Ajakaye, called on the political gladiators to play the game according to the rules, saying elections should not be seen as do or die.
I'm appealing for all, women, men, young and old, especially to our youth, to ensure violence, to ensure that they don't allow violence to take place.
To religious leaders, people should come out tomorrow and exercise their franchise.
Our vote is our power. We have to use the power to restructure the state. We appeal to them to come down and to accept their fate.
They should tell their members, their party members, to work consciously and to work with decency.
Appealing to all relevant stakeholders to carry out their exercise with the fear of God. In Ekiti, Temitope, Debon,
The Center for Democracy and Development says it is set to give detailed and critical analysis of the Ekiti governorship poll. The center expressed this readiness at a pre-election briefing on the Goba poll in Abuja. Joseph Otsen reports.
The Analysis Center is set with details of the state voting registration from each local government, political parties and their candidates available. The Center for Democracy and Development says it sees the Ekiti state governorship election as a testing ground on reforms in the electoral process, bearing in mind that it is the first election that will be conducted by INEC after the passage of the new electoral law.
We have deployed over 200 observers who are in the field in Ekiti.
Once that pivot cannot capture you, then you are not eligible to vote. So I think the way they are able to make it function very well is very, very critical.
Impact of godfatherism and violence in affecting results are identified here as major source of worry, with Ado Ekiti, Efo, Ekole and Oye as flashpoints. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has received commendation for his contributions to governance and humanitarian services to the people. The commendation was given by Jamiya Matan Arewa, an umbrella body for women in the northern part of the country, during a courtesy visit to the Vice President. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Led by its president, Rabi Musa Saulawa, the association says it recognizes the good work of the vice president in the north, especially the support and care for orphans, vulnerable women and children in Borno State. Formed in the early 60s by notable leaders, the association is also involved in the care for widows and orphans, as well as empowering women in the northern part of the country. Laulu Akonde is the vice president's spokesperson.
We also encourage the association to do more in terms of scaling up the impact of their humanitarian work, and it promised that in any area that it might require government assistance, that the federal government will be willing to support them.
The vice president reiterated his stand on equal opportunity for both men and women for growth and a just society.
We find out that wealthy nations are the nations that afford equal opportunities and equal rights to women.
Because we have seen the wonderful work that he's been doing with our orphans in Maiduguri. President is for everybody, and we've seen it in the Northeast. He is not from that region. He is not, how should I say, a northerner, but he saw what was happening to the children in the Northeast that were being orphaned by the Boko Haram insurgency, and he felt it was the right thing to do. So we actually applaud him, and we are also hoping that our other well-to-do Nigerians can also do the same, because there's a lot of work to be done in the north.
At the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
President of the National Council for Women's Society, Lami Adam Lau, has used the occasion of the 2022 International Day of the African Child to appeal to the 21 states yet to establish the special courts for the prosecution of rape cases to do so without further delay. This was at Abuja conference, where she also added her voice to the call for an end to the lingering ASU strike. Ngozi Teknikyo has more.
Among the issues bordering on the future of children in Nigeria is fear of uncertainty on such matters as education and security.
The government should resolve the ASU strikes because with all my sisters, one has written jam, so because of the ASU strike, she has not yet entered.
Like I'm writing work next year, and if this ones that have written is not being admitted to the university earlier, it's going to affect us.
On the 16th of June every year afford stakeholders in the African continent opportunity to take stock and appraise these issues and other issues militating against African children.
30 million of 57 million children who are out of school are in sub-Saharan Africa. More than 10 million of these children are Nigerians.
The National Council for Women's Society says the continuous strike is exposing the youths to social vices. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
You're watching the network news on NTA. Time to take a break. The news continues shortly.
Times 10. Get a Glow SIM today and enjoy 1,000 Naira sign-on bonus for voice and data. All new and existing Glow subscribers also get 10 times the value of their every recharge, plus up to double their data recharge as bonus. All Glow subscribers also get up to free 20,000 Naira bonus for voice and data.
The federal government wishes to inform intending pilgrims to Saudi Arabia that the Saudi government would conduct random blood tests to verify COVID-19 vaccination status of all pilgrims. If you are a prospective pilgrim and unvaccinated or due for your second or booster dose, hurry now to the nearest vaccination site to get vaccinated against COVID-19. In Saudi Arabia, pilgrims may be randomly chosen for antigen tests to confirm their vaccination status. Avoid embarrassment. Ensure that you are fully vaccinated. Please verify your vaccination records by visiting www.vaccination.gov.ng/verification guide at least 48 hours before your departure date. For any inquiry, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122. That is 0700-220-1122. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
Just a moment. The refrigerator. Hello? Sunday! Yes, my guy. Come. 1,000 Naira. Buy me Airtel recharge card. You have what I said. Thank you. Oh. Sunday, don't finish me. I say 1,000 Naira recharge card. You carry 8,000 Naira of my money, go load them. Because money in your hand, Abi.
Oga, no. As I load the 1,000 Naira, I use Airtel Ovajara, turn them to 8,000 Naira, just like that.
8 times the value of any recharge, plus double data and 1,000 Naira activation bonus when you buy a new SIM.
Sunday, go buy us. And make sure say they put Ovajara for you.
The Smartphone Network.
The Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola San, and Honorable Minister of State for Works and Housing, Muazu Jaji Sambo, cordially invites chairmen and members of the National Assembly Committees on Works, Federal Executive Council members, state governors, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to the commissioning and handing over of Hadeja Nguru Road, Phase 2, Krikasama Nguru in Jigawa State. The commissioning of the highway project will be performed by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Host Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, Governor of Jigawa State. Date Saturday, June 18th, 2022. Venue Biniriwa in Biniriwa local government area of Jigawa State. Time 11 a.m. All invited guests are expected to be seated by 10 a.m. Please note that COVID-19 protocols must be adhered to by all invited guests. Announcer Bashir Nura Al-Khali, Permanent Secretary.
Times 10. Get a Glow SIM today and enjoy 1,000 Naira sign-on bonus for voice and data. All new and existing Glow subscribers also get 10 times the value of their every recharge, plus up to double their data recharge as bonus. All Glow subscribers also get up to free 20,000 Naira bonus for voice and data.
A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. She knows when all is not well. And she trusts M&B paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. M&B paracetamol. Pain can't stop you. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has commenced a nationwide operation to verify COVID-19 vaccination records and validate vaccination cards. This exercise will allow vaccinated individuals correct damaged QR codes and confirm personal information like name and date of birth. It will also enable the federal government to validate COVID-19 vaccination cards to identify those that have been acquired fraudulently. To verify your COVID-19 vaccination records, visit www.vaccination.gov.ng/verification-guide and follow the instructions. If newly vaccinated, wait for 24 hours before verifying your records. For intending international travelers, verify your records at least 1 week before your travel date to avoid delays at departure point. If you cannot access the website, call 0700-320-1122. This message is from NPHCDA.
What's your hand?
You're still watching the network news on NTA. The Catholic Bishop of Owo Diocese, Most Reverend Emmanuel Badija, says formulation and effective implementation of policies and programs capable of addressing the root causes of insecurity in Nigeria is the only way out to avoid further waste of lives. This is part of his homily at a funeral mass held in honor of victims of June 5 Owo church terror attack. Olushola Komalafe reports.
It was a sober atmosphere where tears flowed freely as 21 out of 40 bodies of the victims of the June 5 Owo church terrorist attack were brought before the congregation for the funeral mass held in Owo. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu reassured that the culprits will not go unpunished. After the mass, families retrieved the body of their loved ones for burial. Over 70 injured worshippers are still in hospital undergoing treatment. From
Nigeria and the United States should collaborate more to effectively tackle the spread of terrorism, especially in the Sahel region. Vice President Osinbajo said this when he received the visiting Undersecretary for Political Affairs, U.S. State Department, Victoria Nuland, highlighting the need for a more comprehensive approach to tackling terrorism in the region and Sahel. The Vice President said the spread of terrorist organizations such as ISWAP and Boko Haram should be tackled firmly and permanently. The Vice President described the cooperation between the two countries as extremely fruitful and rewarding and commended the U.S. government for providing support to Nigeria in its fight against Boko Haram and terrorism. He also noted President Muhammad Buhari's administration's commitment to tackling the country's security challenges and ensuring free, fair and peaceful elections.